What up guys, Phantom here with my third episode of F1 2019 career mode as we're going to Bahrain. As we start out here in Q2, we easily made it out of Q1 on the medium tires as we're going to come down here to turn 1. As we cut to the end of the lap, we are right now 8th, but we haven't set a time yet. As Butler sets the fastest lap, and we are going to be 5th of how many drivers had set a lap time. At the end of the session we were 10th, and I wasn't very comfortable being on the bubble like that with Raikkonen behind us and Ricciardo ahead of us and Hamilton on pole for Q2. So we kind of locked up going into turn 1 there as we go through turn 2 and turn 3 up the hill as we cut to the end of the lap, and we're still P10 with 28 seconds left. As we're coming down to the line, we will be 8th position and we'll actually finish 9th, and me and Raikkonen actually jumped Ricciardo at the end of the session, so Ricciardo was knocked out in Q2 along with Stroll, my teammate Grosjean, Norris, and Giovinazzi. As we cut to Q3, we waited until the very end to set our lap here as we come across the line. So we cut to the end of Q3 here as qualifying has ended, as we're trying to get ahead of 10th, which we are right now because we have not set a lap. As we come through the last corner, went a little bit too deep and didn't get a very good run off the corner. We're going to finish P8 for Q3 and start the race like that, which is not a bad result considering we finished P8, we qualified P18 at Australia. Here as the lineup is Leclerc on pole, and Perez will come out at the end of the top 10 as we finish 8th.
The curtain rises once more then on the desert stage of Sakir as the players take their places for the opening act. Will they enthrall us like they did in 2014 with that titanic battle between Nico Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton? Well, we'll find out shortly as we get underway here in Bahrain. There's no shortage of passing opportunities around the 3.36 miles of the Bahrain International Circuit, with the best at turn 1 of course, and then another soon into turn 4. 15 corners here, 6 to the left and 9 to the right, and we could see 1 or 2 flat spots into the tight left-hander of turn 10. Alongside me to discuss all the action today is Anthony Davidson. And thanks for joining us, Ant. And tell me, you were down in the pit lane earlier. How do you think the track conditions are today?
Well, it's looking a bit cold out there, if I'm honest. These tyres have quite a narrow operating window in terms of the temperatures they need to extract the best grip. So with a cold track surface, it's going to be harder to keep those temperatures up, which will lead to lower grip and maybe more mistakes.
It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. Charles Leclerc lines up on pole position, and it's Lewis Hamilton alongside. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Bottas, Butler, Sebastian Vettel and Verstappen, Weber and a Haas, Raikkonen and Sergio Perez, Ricciardo, Stroll, Romain Grosjean and Norris, Giovinazzi, Albon, Nico Hülkenberg and Daniel Kvyat. Kubica and George Russell ends our grid lineup. And with preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track.
As we're here on the grid, as the lights are coming on, as we're lining up in 8th and the lights are out, and we get a pretty average start as Verstappen gets a pretty good launch off the line here as we're coming in the turn 1 and try to not hit anybody. Go easy as we get hit behind by Stroll, I think that hit us, or Perez there, as we're coming down here to turn 3 or 4, I don't know which one. We broke a little bit too late and hit Verstappen in the back as we come down to turn 10 here, and we just couldn't get it slowed down as we went wide, but we're able to keep the place on Weber. As we come down here to the end of lap 1 onto the front stretch, as Leclerc sets the fastest lap, we're getting attacked by Weber here, and we're going to give up the inside and try to just hang it around the outside here of turn 1, which we're able to do. And as we go up the hill to turn 3, is we go to the next lap down the front stretch, and Weber's a little bit farther behind, which means he'll get a little bit more of a slingshot effect on us coming down here to turn 1, as we get kind of outbroke and we're forced to give up the position to Weber, as he's probably going to attack Butler ahead of him, as again we kind of couldn't get slowed down enough here, as this time we'll actually get attacked by Perez here down the inside, down the back stretch, as we kind of made a last minute block there, as we kind of hang it around the outside. We're able to keep the position here for the inside of this long right-hander, as we're coming onto the front stretch again, but this time Perez is going to actually have DRS, as we are too, but we're a lot farther away from Weber, and so we're going to go defensive on Perez. We're going to actually outbrake ourselves and kind of take Weber's position from him, as he kind of turned it on us since we dive bombed him. As we come down here to turn 4, we go a little defensive, then we get on the racing line, and Perez kind of dived down on our inside as well, as he's going to get the run off the corner, and we're going to have to yield the position through the middle sector here. As we come onto the front stretch here, as Perez is attacking Butler, we kind of broke a little deep there, and we had to kind of straighten up and turn in late to miss Butler there. As we come through the middle sector here, he didn't get a very good run through this corner. We're going to go around, try to go around the outside here, but Haas versus a Red Bull Aero not going to really work, as we're going to wait until the front stretch here, and we're going to make a pretty easy overtake on Butler here, and going into not even turn 1, but even beforehand. Release. As we move on to the end of lap 6, we're going to pit this time, and Perez is going to go in ahead of us, and Butler's going to stay out. We managed to barely get it slowed down into the pit. We're going to try to make, hopefully this won't be a typical Haas stop in real life, and they'll be clean, as Weber was actually perfect timing there and didn't hold us up there. As we're going to exit in 18th with Weber behind us and Perez in front of us. On our out lap, Butler, coming in the third sector, had a engine failure and had to retire, which will take the pressure off of us to put in consistent good laps, as Grosjean found the pit coming on to lap 8, and we'll see how many positions we'll gain back. Hopefully we'll end up somewhere around 9th to 7th, depending on who's pit. As we come out 10th, it's not bad, but there should be about 3 cars that need a pit, as they'll do on the next lap here, as it would be Hulkenberg, Russell, and Albon, and we're easily able to pass them to the pit lane. Coming down here to turn 1, come down here, and really nothing happened for the rest of the race, as Lewis Hamilton will win the Bahrain Grand Prix as Vettel sets the fastest lap, so he'll get an extra point, and will come down to take a great 7th place finish.
Even during some of the more hectic parts of the race, meant they were able to capitalise on the mistakes of other drivers, giving them the opportunity to make their way to the top spot with ease.
So after a magnificent race, we can now see the drivers making their way to the podium. Once again, it's the Silver Arrows who take top spot, a well-earned victory for Mercedes. And after this round of the World Championship, here's how things look in the drivers' table. Lewis Hamilton takes over the lead of the Drivers' Championship after an excellent result. Now, let's discuss, Ant, who would you say is a contender for Driver of the Day?
But it's absolutely got to be Alexander Albon, no hesitation. He put in a performance today that's only going to build further upon his already growing reputation.
Let's move on to the constructors. Ferrari continued to extend the gap at the top of the table. There was also a strong showing from the Mercedes team today as they make their way up the standings. And with that, we wrap up another weekend of motorsport. But with more races lined up, be sure to join us when we come back with more Formula One.